1911 here. Y'all ready for the video today? Booyah! Hell yeah, right? Alright, what we're going to talk about today is hidden, just for a minute. First of all, I really need to say this. Man, thank all you guys for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do and click that ringy dingy so you'll get a notification when it goes up. Go check me out at sarge1911.com, sgt1911.com. Man, I got some good stuff over there. You can find some booyah stuff for your face. It's all good. Now, let's get down to what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about something old. Older than Sarge 1911. But there's a reason why. We're going to follow this thing through the chain of events. Beretta. Everybody knows Beretta. They've been one of the oldest gun makers in the world. Everybody knows about the Beretta 92. You know, the U.S. military adopted it in the mid-80s. Excellent, excellent handgun. You know, myself, if you follow some of my videos, only recently have I started to shoot some Berettas, and I like them. You know, I've got a Centurion and a performance model. Good. But let's go back to several years to the Beretta 92's dad. Okay? What we got is a Beretta 1951, and that's what it's called, a Beretta Model 51. You know, a lot of weapons manufacturers, you know, like the Colt 1911, whatever year they were manufactured in or released in or something, they pick up that year as part of their number. This thing here is the Beretta 51. Now, this thing was issued to the Italian military back in the 50s. This was the #1 Italian-made handgun up until the 70s, maybe through the 70s. And then we started to move in and do some improvements on it until we get to the 92. Now, kind of think about the time we're going through here. Here's the 70s. We got this Beretta 91. It starts to decline in popularity in the late 70s, and lo and behold, in the 80s, the U.S. military picks up the Beretta 92. The similarity between these handguns is obvious to you. You can see it looks like a Beretta. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at this particular handgun, get a review of it, and then I'm going to tell you a couple more things. You can tell it is a Beretta. It's got that open top slide up there on the top. Typical Beretta. It's got the hammer. Look at the hammer. It's got another one of these little holes in the hammer there. You know, I don't know why they do that. I think maybe they won't tie a string in it. Who knows what the Europeans thinking, because they got a couple other odd things about this handgun. You know, it's got the serrations on it that are really fine. It's got a slide lock on the side. Let me get it back here so you can see it. Right here on this side, slide lock on this side. It's got a takedown lever just like other Beretta pistols do. So you can see it. It's got some really fine sights on it. Not white dot. This is more like a military type pistol where we don't have anything fancy on it. But what we do have is a decent handgun. Now, let's get down. 9mm. Let's start here. 9mm, 8-round magazine. Now I'm going to show you some things on this thing you might think is a little odd. But if you think about it really closely and you know a little bit about firearms history, you're going to know for the time, 1951, not really that odd. I'm going to stand up here so I can get close. We'll start with a magazine. This is nothing new. The magazine goes in. It's got this little piece here. You'll see a lot of these little things on some of the little Ruger pistols or some of the pocket pistols. It kind of gives you a place to put your finger there. That's all good. That's not what's strange. European-made pistol, remember, here's our magazine release down here. It's that little button down at the bottom. So, back in 1951, when this was cutting edge, especially in the military, we had to have 2 hands to operate the handgun. We had to hit this little button to do a magazine release in 1951. Now, if you'll go back to old Sam Colt, who had 1911s, 40 years earlier, he had a magazine release right here where you hit with his thumb. So the Europeans is a bit behind with that magazine release, and only, I believe, in the last few years, several years probably, have they started to improve that. Now, I don't know here, and here's where I'm going to ask for a little feedback from the community out there. This thing does have a safety. It's right here. It looks similar to a hammer block safety. But lo and behold, I'm right-handed. You can see, we pull this trigger, it goes off. Now, I'm going to push the safety in, and it puts the safety on. To me, this pistol would be designed for a left-handed person, because if I use it from, again, I have to use the opposite hand or two hands to make the pistol function. You know, most weapons, or all of them I know, to make the weapon off fire or into a firing position from safe, you push it from the right to the left like that. That actually puts this weapon on safe. So in my mind, it's backwards. This one, for a left-handed person, you would push it from the left side to the right side to put the weapon on. You know, so I mean, it's kind of backwards as far as the safety is concerned, and it's not in a easily usable place. You know, and I think that's pretty typical of European design, in particular, a couple of decades ago. You know, it's got a magazine lanyard loop on it. Well, they had that in 1911 from the Brownies. You know, the Colts in 1911, John Moses Browning. It's a nice little handgun. But one of the reasons I brought this out today and want to talk about it is not only is it the dad or the granddad to the Beretta 92 that's become so famous, this little handgun here, 9mm, 8-round magazine, can be had very reasonably priced. Now, I picked this one up here at Classic Firearms online, and you can get this thing for 300 bucks or less. Nothing wrong with this handgun at all. Now, you can pay an extra 25 bucks or so and get hand select, and you'll get one that's in maybe excellent condition and may even look unfired, depending on, you know, who pulls it from you, what's available at that time, where they imported them from, did they come from, you know, the police captain's drawer, did they come from the traffic division where it's got a lot of holster wear. It's obvious on this one we have some holster wear all on the front, and you can see that. Now, we don't have, if you look at the trigger, we don't have any wear or discoloring on the trigger. So I'm going to think, for the most part, this particular handgun rolled in somebody's holster until it was eventually replaced by probably the grandson or son, the Beretta 92. You know, I don't know, but you know, oftentimes you can go to places like Classic Firearms, sign up, get on their email list. They'll bombard you with emails, delete the ones that you don't want. But then they're going to send you that email that's got one of these out there on sale for $269. And if you happen to have a Curio and Relic collector's license, for $269, they can have it sent to your mailbox. Now, you don't have to go to your local hardware store, gun store, anywhere and pick it up. It comes straight to your mailbox for $269 and maybe $20 shipping. Pay an extra $25 and get a hand-selected gun. 9mm, 8 rounds, fires just as many rounds as a Glock 43, and then it's all good. What we're going to do now, though, we're going to go out and see if this old girl will go bang, bang, bang for us and see if we can have a good time. Okay, guys, we're outside the hideout out here. It's an absolutely beautiful day in the neighborhood. But let me tell you something. I got called out in there a few minutes ago because I made a mistake. But that mistake did draw something to my attention I need to add to the video. At one time I referenced this as a 91. It is a 1951 Beretta. However, back in the day, Beretta sold these handguns all over the world. Remember, I said they were the most popular handgun they had. They sold them to African nations. They sold them to European nations. They sold them in the Middle East. They sold them everywhere, hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of them. But one of the things I didn't tell you that I think is very important, one of the people they sold these to was the Iraqis. And if you find one of these where it's got Beretta in the little emblem right here, let's see if we get zoomed in there and see that. It says Beretta right there in this little circular area. You can find one of these where that has a gold colored emblem there of an Iraqi warrior. These things are referred to as the Saddam Berettas because of Saddam Hussein. If you get one of them, you see one of them at a gun show, I'd pick it up. I don't know that the value on laying on the table to a lot of people is going to be worth it, because there are plenty of these in the market. You know, it's still a 1951, but this one has the relevance of being one of Saddam Hussein's military issued weapons. And you know, for a guy like me, ex-military, it makes it just that much cooler to have. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna load up, put my hearing on. Like I said, we just got 8 rounds. I'm gonna shoot 8 rounds, and I'm gonna have to load again and shoot 8 more. I'm sure there's, you know, additional magazines available aftermarket, but you know, I don't have one. This is the first time I've fired this weapon. So the truth is, other than going through a safety function or a function check, I don't even know if it will fire. But it's a Beretta, I'm assuming it will. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. I may not hit anything, but I can try. I can smell the powder burn. So far, so good. There we go. Well, you know, it shoots well enough that I got my can to roll off the table. I don't know how well I hit it, but I hit the can out here just about 20 yards. So, I mean, the sights on it are really fine. Trigger on it's not what I would call impressive, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's good. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna compare this trigger to a modern day polymer pistol. I think this thing's gonna pull, let me see. I think this thing's probably gonna pull right around 6 pounds. And let's just see, I bet I'm gonna be right. Let's see. Ready, clear it, ready. Woo, 7 pounds. So really, that's about like one of today's polymer pistols. You know, single action. Safety is backwards. So I think, you know, if somebody's going to carry one of these, you know what, I don't think I would recommend carrying one of these. I think you'd be much better off to go and invest in a modern day, inexpensive polymer handgun for a carry self-defense protection weapon. To go plinking on a part of history, have some of your weapons be in your collection, have some significance, and you have one of these, an old Beretta, absolutely, especially for the price, 300, 325, 340 bucks or something to get one shipped to your door, absolutely worth it. But to carry one self-defense, that safety being backwards, and somebody may know more about it and have more expensive, maybe it's reversible, I don't know. But to me, I don't think that I would carry it as a self-defense just simply because that safety is backwards. What I would do though is definitely add it to my collection. You know, that magazine release being where it is, down here at the bottom, let me rotate it around safely. That magazine release there, the safety being backwards, to me, would be a no-no for personal defense. But it's better than a rock. Or the way some of our lovely partners are in the world today, just another excuse not to have one. But anyway, let me go ahead and finish this up. I dropped one out. That's okay, it's hot. Well, you guys can see this old girl still shoots good, very accurate handgun. You know, Beretta had it back for all the way back in the 50s, they had that right. Been making handguns for hundreds and hundreds of years. They just continue to keep going on. If you get an opportunity to see these things out there, you know, they're affordable. They make a nice collector's items. Go get yourself one. You know, until we get to shoot again, shoot safe, shoot straight.
Who?